Tens of thousands have rallied on Japan's southern island of Okinawa against the deployment of Osprey planes at an American base there. The demonstrators say the aircraft's safety record is not up to standard following a series of crashes in the past. But 6 Osprey planes have already been transferred to the base near the densely populated city of Ginawan. Protesters are also calling for the facility to be shut down. And for some insight into this, let's now talk to peace campaigner and human rights activist Ryan Dawson. Ryan, welcome to the programme. So despite crashes in Morocco and Florida earlier this year and a forced landing in North Carolina, Tokyo gave the green light to the plane. So that's after a visit last month by US Defense Secretary Leon Panetta, who said Washington is confident in the aircraft's safety. So is Tokyo blindly following American wishes there?
I think the Americans timed this perfectly. They came at a time when there was all this unrest and protest from China against Japan about these islands. And they placed them down in Okinawa, and they're leaving from Iwakuni, which didn't want these things either. Anytime the U.S. brings its toys, even temporarily, they never seem to leave. There have been negotiations for a long time. When the DPJ came into power, they ran on the position that they were going to close bases and reduce the size of bases, and none of it's ever happened. But Washington always finds the perfect time to come and sell their hardware or to come play around with their new toys.
People have been protesting against the existence of the American military base in Okinawa for years. In 2010, even the governor of the province rallied against it. How likely is it that Japan will listen to the people's concerns and actually shut the base down?
Well, they had a deal to at least remove 8,000 Marines from Okinawa to Guam, Guam being part of America, actually. And that was back in 2006. But the Americans wanted $8 billion to do it. It went from $6 billion to $8 billion, and yet it's never happened. Even with that price tag, the Okinawans still were willing to do it. But Guam doesn't want them, and no one else in Japan wants them. These bases cause a lot of problems, not only for safety, but noise issues and a lot of conflicts with the servicemen themselves in the local areas. But the U.S. isn't going to budge on that position. They've been dragging their feet now for 6 years. So I think it's highly unlikely bases will close when they can't even relocate 8,000 troops.
What's the impact of this base on the island?
Well, nobody wants any of the bases there, but for them to be bringing these MV-22 Ospreys from Boeing is very dangerous. They crashed as recently as June in Florida. That could fall on someone's head. That's not an exaggeration. These things, they're a hybrid helicopter airplane, and they haven't got the bugs out of them yet. They're almost as bad as the F-22s or the F-35s from Lockheed. They don't work. They're very expensive and they're very dangerous. And the impact is not just that, it's that the people in Naha and Okinawa feel like they're being ignored again. And so that when you see tens of thousands of Japanese people protesting, that's a lot of anger. It takes a lot in the culture here to get people out in the street to protest. You really didn't see any protesters against China over Senkaku, a few in Tokyo, a few hundred people, all peaceful. But they're going bananas about this because they're always being ignored.
The US has been stressing the importance of boosting its influence in the Pacific. What are its goals there?
Well, of course, the US's real goal, they always say they're building up a presence because of North Korea, and maybe part of that is true. But I think a lot of it's about encircling China as well, and more so just spending money for the sake of it.
There are more than 50,000 US servicemen in Japan alone, with more in South Korea as well. So how far is Washington planning to effectively dominate the region?
Well, it's like World War II never ended, and there's still bases in Germany as well. They're unnecessary, the residents don't want them, but this is U.S. geopolitics. They are never somewhere temporarily. Once the U.S. comes somewhere, with the one exception of Saudi Arabia, and they put a base, they never, ever leave.
All right, peace campaigner and human rights activist Ryan Dawson, thank you very much indeed for your time.